gold down there, Diane. There's gold down there.
You're like their number one favorite guy. Because you won them cash. Well, we're back talking about another major. I'm Diane Knox, joined by Steve Elkington, and it's US Open week at Torrey Pines in San Diego. Elk, it may look like I'm at Torrey. I'm not. I'm in Jacksonville, very rainy, horrible Jacksonville. You are in Congaree Golf Club, which hosted the Palmetto Championship. You get to play it today. I was there yesterday. The first thing I said to my dad was, Elk is going to love this place.
I can't believe it, Diane. I got to see the last hole. I got down here a little late. Saw Higo win his first tournament in American soil. I think he's I think Jim Nance said on the green that he's the first player from overseas to win in 2 starts on the PGA Tour. We've talked about Higo on this show. You know, this is a rising star. Hits it a mile, great swing, very balanced kid, won 3 times in Europe. Now he's already a winner on our tour. A little bit lucky. Chesson Hadley gave it to him, bogeyed the last 3 holes yesterday. But yes, indeed, Diane, I can't wait to see Congaree. They say it's very sandy like Australia. You've told me that. But it's more than that. It's surrounded by these majestic oak trees. And I'm sitting in this little cabin, feel like I'm in a movie set or something. It's so beautiful here.
I kept saying that as well, that it felt like you were in like this surreal kind of southern plantation movie set. That's exactly it. But with the golf on Sunday, I mean, you're right, amazing to see Higo get that win, but it just shows, you know, you have one of these new courses that appears on the PGA Tour, and Congaree really showed its teeth. I mean, Koepka missed the cut, DJ was in contention, fell away, you know, towards the end on Sunday. Same with Harris English, Chesson Hadley, as you said, but yeah, you're going to have fun. You get to play it today.
Yeah, it's. I think the people that own Congaree and the people here, Bruce Davidson, who was on our show this week, they were very happy with 11 under score. They thought, you know, a lot of the tour players, they were saying it was going to be 15 and 20, and Bruce, and they didn't think it was going to be that way. And they had an interesting stat. Average on the tour, there's 53 putts per day actually is the average on the tour, but Congaree there was 103 putts a day each day. So the greens proved to be very turtleback style, where they, you know, if you hit too far away from the pin, you couldn't 2-putt. We talked about that in our show. Bruce gave us some great insights, and it worked out to be that way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this week, it's a major week, our favourites to talk about. And as I said at the start, Torrey Pines, which hosted one of the greatest majors of all time. It's one of the most talked about, and well, this week in particular, it will be. 2008, the last time the US Open was at Torrey, and the last time that the playoff was an 18-hole playoff. That was not enough for Tiger Woods and Rocco Mediate, who had to play 1 extra sudden death hole. Tiger went on to win. It was the year that Tiger won it with a broken leg, and that was the last time we saw him for a while because he had to go and have his surgery. But, you know, what memories of that year?
Well, where do you start? I mean, Tiger Woods, you know, owns Torrey Pines. I think he's won 8 times there, and he knows that golf course so well. And he sort of did it a different way. I'm going to talk about it in this show. I mean, Tiger, you know, only hit 55% of his fairways that week. Rocco was more like 70. He said on our show it was more like 80 because he hit a lot of the first cut. And the question this week will be, can a long hitter be in the rough this week and win Torrey? Or will it take accurate driving from someone that will win Torrey? I think there's a chance for both, but I think, Diane, that the USGA has kind of found their footing with the way they're setting up the courses. They've gone for a number of years where they're trying different things, and we saw last week with the Women's US Open at Olympic, very traditional US Open rough. Get in the rough, you can't do anything. And I think what I'm hearing is this week it's going to be a nightmare in the rough, 6, 7, 8 inch rough, and you are not going to be able to get it on the green from out of the rough at all.
Right, well, we're going to talk about the setup for a US Open course and what we can expect from Torrey this week. But first, you teased it. Rocco Mediate, we have him on the show this week. Now, he plays PGA Tour Champions now, and we caught up with him in Wisconsin last week. He just finished his first round, and he talked to us about 2008 and the type of player that really can do well in a US Open at Torrey Pines.
the saddest part, obviously, I obviously wanted to win and all that stuff, but the saddest part was it was over because I wanted to keep going. It was too much fun. But yeah, I think they made him. I mean, I get it's for TV, not having 18-hole playoffs the next day, but I still feel like I frankly feel like all the majors should have 18-hole playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe the U.S. Open is. I don't know. It's our national open. The PGA is a huge deal, obviously. And Elk, to beat Monty in 18-hole playoff for sure. The shape he was in. But no, I mean it was. I don't know how you can explain it. It was, it doesn't happen. I mean, just doesn't happen like that. Usually they're kind of boring and it's over quick. I mean, it was almost over quick. I attempted to make it over quick, but then things changed.
Now, I have a couple questions. I have a lot of questions, but because I don't know the answer to this, honestly. How do you prepare mentally for a U.S. Open? How do you play good in a U.S. Open would be the question. Well,
you can go back to what just for your major championship at the PGA, which was set up like a U.S. River had the high rough that year, which obviously opens do. But I was always, you're almost in the set. Well, you are. We hit our ball fairly straight. Fairly. When you played your best, you didn't drive that crooked, and you drove further than most. I drove straight and not further than most, but straight is long and opens because they're usually firm. Torrey was a brick, which I loved because. So I felt like I could play good in them if I drove like I should drive, and I also felt like you didn't have to be the greatest putter ever to win an Open. You know what I mean? It's like if you're shooting somewhere around par or so, usually that wins. So I was close a few times. I actually was closer at Southern. I should have won at Southern Hills more than I should have won at Torrey, because we were back there 2 weeks ago, and I was still mad. But Torrey's, like I said, it played in the. I can't say it played into my hands, but the firmness played into my hands because I can't hit that far. Mm-hmm. But I got it running out there, and I was just fine, obviously.
I was looking at some stats, and people will be interested to hear these stats of you at 08 and Tiger. You were 40 yards behind Tiger off the tee. I think you averaged 283. He was 320. You hit 10% more fairways than he did, but you both hit about the same amount of greens. And it was really interesting to me that I found out that he only beat you by 2 strokes on the greens, which told me that you putted probably pretty good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the really other interesting thing that I found out was out of the 24 greens that you both missed, you got up and down 2 more times than Tiger did, which is kind of pretty – well, you've always been a bit of a magician because you only play a 55-degree club. The question is, when did you know during that tournament that you could take him down? I know how it ended, but when did you feel like, okay, I'm in this deal?
Yeah, you mean during the week or Monday?
I think end of Sunday, Monday.
Right. Right. So
when did you hit the lead? Saturday, somewhere in there.
Saturday, I had it a little bit Saturday, then lost it on 15, and then I was ended up 1 or 2 back after because I think I parred 6 birdies. So yeah, I think anyway. Then Sunday, I had it coming to my 17th to 71st hole. I think I had a 1-shot lead. But as far out, and I'll tell you about that 1 shot. But with Tiger, though, I always liked playing with him. I like the chaos. I live in chaos, basically, but I love chaos. Some guys don't. Nothing wrong with that. It's just you don't get to play good if you don't like chaos with him because that's what he brings. Complete and utter chaos, especially then, especially in a U.S. Open. So, at his basically where he grew up, when everybody's expecting the car wreck and me to get decimated. But when I played with him in '99 at Phoenix, this is why I always go back to this event. I had him the last 2 rounds, and I won the golf tournament. We were tied going to Saturday. I shot 6 under, had a 6-shot lead on him going to Sunday. Still couldn't sleep. Anyway, so I ended up winning the golf tournament with him for the last 2 days. In that chaos, as you know, Phoenix, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's complete insanity. And with him, it was stupid. It was great. I loved it. But So I was ready for whatever. I never was afraid. Yeah, if I play him 9, 10 days in a row, he's going to beat me 9, but that's all right. He's supposed to. But what about that other one? So I felt like I already got him once. And the way I was hitting it that way, or driving it, and the way he was driving it, I felt there was no way when I woke up on Monday I was going to lose. No way. If I did what I knew I could do. And I kind of did. But he did things that the great ones do.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, guys who win major championships have something special because that's why they win major championships. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference or something, obviously, than the guys that didn't win one don't quite get or something. That's how I look at it.
Well, making that putt on the 70.
Good Lord.
On the last hole from the right side of the green on the front pin where it looks like a rugby match has been going on for a week. And you couldn't make that with a shag bag full.
No. But when I saw the thing that shocked me most about that last 10 minutes of watching him finish was the third shot. Because he was in the Kikuyu rough, right? With the Kikuyu, which is, we call it whatever you want. But it was like a Brillo pad, as you know. And he got the ball to come backwards. What the hell's going on here? And he told me the next year in the Buick, I said, tell me about, he goes, I was in an old divot. Well, of course you were. Of course you were an old divot. Of course, because I told you, saw the thing I called the devil the night before the playoff. I said, hey, I need your help. I don't want you to give my whole soul. Just I'll give you some. Give me 5 hours tomorrow against this kid. He goes, nah, sorry, buddy. He'd love to have you, but we've had him since he was a child. So I had no chance.
Is Torrey Pines a good U.S. Open course?
It is when it's set up for the U.S. Open, if that makes any sense. Because I never liked it. I shouldn't say never liked it. I never did real well there in the Buick, the Buick or whatever it's called, the Farmers now. I liked it, and then Reese came in and redid it, made it hard, made it a U.S. Open course. That's why they call it. Whether you love them or hate them, they keep calling them. I happen to like them, but I think it is now what he did to it and the length he put in it. But they're going to see, like we saw in 08, and like you and I saw all the Opens we played, 27-yard wide fairways with that rough. Now, what Bryson did last year at Wingfoot was remarkable, but this isn't – Wingfoot had bluegrass rough. Yeah. You can actually – you know what I'm saying? I couldn't do what he did, but my point is those guys can. But at Kikuyu, you can't.
Yeah.
So we're going to see. Driving might matter.
Is what, in your opinion, you know, Torrey, under those conditions, what is or what was the most important club in the bag that week for you?
For me, it was driver.
Period.
And I was talking, Rich Lerner showed me those stats you told me, just the driving stats. I'll bet you I hit out of, 5% fairways?
Yeah.
I bet you I was 80 if you include first cuts.
First cut, yeah.
But I never hit it in the rough. Oh, I hit it in the rough some, obviously, but never a lot. I was always in the first cut or in the fairway or a couple of times in the rough, but never deep in the rough, like deep in the. But I was thinking about that the other day. I wish I could remember, but I bet you I was 80% first cut. So, which is fine because it was fine. But the driver set it up, and then I'm hitting longer clubs in. So, in air, the elevation set it up too because, I was hitting a lot longer clubs, obviously, than these guys did because he's out driving me 40. So 50 or whatever it is. Bryson won, of course, at Wingfoot. There was only 40, he hit 40% of the fairways at Wingfoot, but the rest of the tour only hit 55%, but he was 60 yards further ahead, and he's got a wedge the length of a 6-iron and get a lot of speed, and that worked out for him. Yep.
That's fine. I don't know, you don't know when you hit it in the rough what kind of lie you're going to have and all that, right? Can a mid-range hitter of the ball, we'll call you a mid-range, I'll call me a mid-range, maybe medium-large, can they win this tournament next week, a mid-range compared to the guys?
They can, because if their mid-range is driving good, like I'm trying to think of who was
someone like a Morikawa who's a straight hitter, right?
Very much so. And he obviously hits it far, but not that, as far as the big guns. But yes, 100%, because I think he did the best. When he won the PGA, he hit more fairways than anybody either that day or that week, one of those two. But the bottom line is it paid off there for him. in that event. But with the Kikuyu rough and those fairways at Torrey have some tilt to them. I think it's going to be more important than they think. Because what Bryson did to Wingfoot was like, oh, well, shit, now what do we do? The USA had to go, what the hell do we do now? Because as you know, Wingfoot, you can go up there tomorrow morning on Men's Day and have no rough, and it's hard to break 75. Okay, so it doesn't matter, but when he did that to the place with hitting one fair, basically no fairways, it's remarkable. But I don't think that's going to happen here. And I know it's going to be, so far there's no rain forecasted, I guess, and it's been dry except for maybe it rained once last week. So if it's firm and fast, the fairways are going to matter. I'm hoping that happens because it's nice to see because they're not that big. Those fairways are small. But I remember in the playoff, Tiger hit it in the right rough on 10. I hit a 3-wood in the right rough. And, obviously, he couldn't move it. He didn't move it 25 yards out of that right rough. That was back then, obviously. But my point is, that's ridiculous. And that's what I think they're going to see more of. Because what I heard, it's 4 to 6 inches right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I heard that. I said the Golf Channel was saying that. So it would be cool to see a major like we played them.
Yeah.
If you'd have missed all the fairways at Riv, you wouldn't have had a PGA Championship. It's real simple.
But 80. What about Poana? I mean, you've gone through all kind of different. You've gone through 5 careers with your putter. You've had long,
right.
You've had that. Rocco, I don't putt Poana very good. California guys do. Tiger Woods, Marco Mira, those kind of guys. They hit it harder from 3 feet, 5 feet than I did.
Right.
Tell us about what is it going to be like next week, Poana?
Yeah, I grew up at Po too in Western PA. That's all we putted on was Poana. Same stuff. Obviously a little different strain, but it's a crapshoot. There's nothing else to say. I mean, if you look at some of the putts that you have at Torrey or at Pebble, same thing. Sometimes you can't make them. It doesn't unless you just send it. And the guys that do that, I told the guys about the putt Tiger made to make birdie on the 90th hole to tie the. Basically, I still had a 3-footer, but he had a 4-footer that would still be going if it missed the hole. Like 12 years later, it'd still be. I mean, it was unreal the speed he hit his putts at, all of them.
I know. I can't do that.
Well, who can? There's only a couple people that can do that.
It's like
because then you got another one coming back.
For those that don't understand what Poana is, it's a bunch of different seeds they put on the green, and they grow at different times of the year. So they have a sort of a surface all year, so they only have to plant it one time. But on a US Open, one will be a little higher than the other, and the only way to combat it is to go with more speed. But I couldn't do that, so I had to read more. And I couldn't do that either.
No,
so you finish up hopeless.
It can be hopeless. But it's just a hard surface to, now it's better, I guess. I don't know how but the late afternoon times at Torrey will be the toughest, obviously. The toughest putting because they're going to get run over. And if it's firm, the only good thing, if it is firm, it's better. It's not quite it won't get as bumpy, but that's the only good thing about it. If it's firm, it's better. But no, some of the guys, it's just hard. And you see the best guys like O'Meara won all those times out there. And obviously Tiger did too, but it's definitely, I don't even know if you'd call it an art. It's just, I don't know what you have to do to be a good putter. I remember telling the people I was with, after the 99 thing with Tiger and then playing with him a bunch more and loving to play with him. And I just like the guy. I mean, I do. I still do. I mean, I miss him. I wish he was still playing. Well, I hope he's okay. I hope he gets to live a normal life and walk and hang out with his kids. Golf, who cares? That happens, great. But just having a chance. I remember telling the people that were around me, I went, I just like to have one more shot at him because I was 45 before I'm done playing the tour. I got 5 years to figure out go to the championship, blah, blah, blah. Just one more Sunday. I don't care where it is. It could be anywhere. Well, I got it. I got the dream. I get the dream of the National Open against him, basically in his hometown, and I got that shot. It doesn't happen, and I learned a lot that day, and it was heartbreaking, but it wasn't devastating. Like Elk will know what I'm talking about. Like devastating. What I mean by that is like I just got beat, and I gave as much as I could, made a beautiful comeback, had him, didn't have him, had him, made the mistake in the playoff, bye-bye. But I didn't 3-putt from 2 feet in the last hole to lose, or I didn't hit in the lake with a wedge. with a 2-shot lead, and you know what I mean. That didn't happen. That's the devastation part. Some of those playoffs or U.S. Opens or majors, in that matter, on the way they're won and lost, can destroy your entire world. It just hurt for a while, but I knew that I had a putt. I was telling you before, I had a putt on the 71st hole on 17. I hit a good tee shot, and I remember telling guys, I was telling my buddy today, I don't remember anything about the swing. I don't remember even swinging, I swear to God. When I looked up, the 7-iron was painted about 3 feet right of the flagstick. I'm like, oh my God, this is perfect. Rolls in there, it didn't almost go in, but it went by the hole right a little bit, about 12 feet. So I got a straight downhill slider towards it. I remember telling Matthew Marquez, because I had a 1-shot lead. Tiger was on 15 or 16. I said, if this goes in, this ball game is over, because I don't think he's going to get 2 on the last. You never know, but it's over. And as soon as I hit it, I thought it's over, and I hit it like I gassed it like a roll too far, but it caught the lip and went 4 feet by. I snuck that one in, but that's the one I wish I would have, because then it's over, because I couldn't reach 18. So I had to try to hit big diving hooks out there, and I did actually do that in the rough every day, but except for one. But I'll never forget it. It was cool, and I love talking about it. It would be fun, though, but we've never done it. I've never, ever talked to Tiger about it once. Not once. He hasn't said a word about it once either. I don't know what the deal is.
Well, he's got nothing to lose.
Oh, yeah.
He had nothing to lose. No, he had nothing to lose. I mean, I had everything. I had nothing to lose either. It was just a waste of my time. It was so much fun, because I like people thought it was going to be a decimation. Mm-hmm. If you can get the press conference on Sunday night, I said, all right, after about 20 minutes of why are you here, and you're 700 years old and you're ranked 4 millionth in the world, blah, blah, blah. And they're busting me up. And I'm like, all right, look, guys, I'm done here. Okay. I'm not here because it's an accident. I'm here because I played really good for 4 days. You can't do it by accident. And I said, and tomorrow, I don't care what you guys think, but there will be a show. I have no idea what's going to happen. But at 9 o'clock, you all get to find out. Yeah. And they got the show.
And we're still watching it now.
I know. But every single time I show it, I lose. Every time. Oh. You figure one time, maybe, no. But no, it's great. And I obviously I like doing them. And I still remember mostly pretty much everything that happened. And I get it a lot. Every day I'll get it. And it doesn't bother me at all.
Oh. Elk, your good friend Rocco, who's just always a joy to talk to about anything, especially such a huge moment in major history, a huge moment in his career. He's the most honest person about all of it too, and you can tell the energy that he has talking about it. I mean, he loves to talk about it.
Yeah, and I talked about on that interview also about the attitude that it takes, that he has in playing well at a U.S. Open that I didn't have. I was not prepared for U.S. Open style back in the day. They used to cut that rough so high right off the edge of the fairway, and less out if you really sprayed it, it was a lot less. And now they flipped that. They have it less and they graduate the rough. But anyway, it's clear to me, Diane, we can look at stats, we can look at current form and all that. We can put it all into the pot. But if you don't have an attitude like Rocco has, where he's just this sort of happy-go-lucky way to play a U.S. Open, and if he hits it in the rough, he just takes his medicine and moves on. And to me, it's so clear now that I'm older and I look at what I'm trying to talk about today of who has the attitude to win the U.S. Open. That's the real trick here.
Right. Well, you can't say anything bad about Rocco's attitude ever. And the full interview with Rocco is over on our Secret Golf YouTube channel, and we'll have it on our social media platforms as well. Right, it's our tour report for the US Open at Torrey Pines. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the course, handicap the field, and give you our re-ranked top 10.
Compete against your friends on PGA Tour events. Win cash and bragging rights. Test your golf knowledge. Experience the success and failure of PGA Tour players. Man. SG Tour app is an engaging golf experience designed by professional golfers that created a variety of games, including single and multi-day games, as well as tournament-long contests. It's really simple. Join or create a game, pick 4 players, and win cash. You can even immerse yourself in interactive features, including course strategy, putt predictor, and daily content exclusively from PGA Tour players. The word is out and golf fans are catching on. So don't miss out. Download the SG Tour app now.
It's the Tour Report from Secret Golf this week for the third major of 2021. Time is just flying by. It's the US Open at Torrey Pines in San Diego. Elk, it's we talk about this a lot because I have a lot of family in San Diego and go out to the Farmers Insurance Open every year. But it's an amazing place to be and one of the most beautiful courses that the guys play on the circuit.
Yeah, Torrey Pines, we know Torrey Pines really well. We've seen it so much, Diane, but US Open week is a little different. Very long golf course, Torrey. It plays longer than what it says on the scorecard. I think it goes at 7,700. They've got some just terrifying long new tees they put back there. The interesting thing, Diane, this week is can somebody win it from driving it in the rough like these big bombers, or is it going to take someone like Rocco Mediate that hits a lot of fairways?
Yeah, and as you say, the Farmers Insurance Open, we see Torrey every year, and it's in January. How much can we take someone that plays well in that tournament, past winners, and put them in our re-ranking this week? How much is that going to move them up? We talked on the show with Rocco a lot about what is the most important club at Torrey Pines. And he said for the US Open, it's the driver. But normally speaking, to answer your question, it's the putter because you're on Poana greens. Guys like Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, these guys are so good at putting out on the West Coast. And I think that combination, you've got a bunch of guys in the top 10 that we're going to talk about that are just happen to be some of the best players in the world that are from California. Yeah. So there's going to be no surprise when we start to talk about who's in this top 10. And going back to what I said, Patrick Reed won last year. Mark Leishman won the year before. He's part of the Secret Golf team. And final round, he hardly hit a fairway with his driver. He'd put a new driver in the bag not long before. So it just shows that, we know that's going to be such an important club this week. Maybe that's the differential when it comes to playing in January compared to the rough they're going to have at the US Open this week. Well, they're prepared, right? This tournament's been, on the calendar for years and years. I've looked at the internet. I've seen some pictures already of the rough at Torrey. Alexander Schauffele put up a video where he literally couldn't chip the ball onto the green from the back of the 18th. I've seen some shots out on the golf course of sort of where the players would be if they missed a fairway. And I'm just telling you right now, you are not going to get it on the green from out of the rough. And, Bryson DeChambeau won at Winged Foot. We'll be talking about him today. Yeah. And he was in the rough all week, but so was everybody else at Winged Foot with the tilted fairways. He had a distinct advantage because he hit less than 50%, but the field hit less than 50%. Okay. The big question this week is who can hit 70% of the fairways and 70% of the greens. That's our job, and that's who's probably going to win this tournament. All right. Well, a US Open always brings the drama and the high scoring as well. Narrow fairways, big rough, which we know is in effect at Torrey already. So we're going to get into our re-ranked top 10. Now, the guy at the top, this is going to be the name on everyone's lips entering this week because he had a stunning lead after 54 holes at Memorial a couple of weeks ago and had to withdraw because he tested positive for COVID. Jon Rahm has been on social media. He posted a funny little video of Rambo, because that's his nickname, and he is ready to get back in the action this week. And well, he should. I mean, he tested positive 7 days ago, and now he's negative, and he's roaring to go. He was 18 under through 3 rounds. The other guys finished 13 under through 4 rounds. They still were 5 shots behind him with an extra day. Yeah, Rahm, we had to wait and see if he was okay. You and I have both had COVID, so we knew that he wouldn't play well if he felt like he had COVID. So had to wait and see. But no, Rahm's won on this golf course, Diane, playing super golf. The big question that I'm going to answer on every one of these guys is, can they hit the fairway? And can they putt good in California? Rahm,
he's passed both those tests and he's in form. And I think he's, got something to prove. Everybody knows what's been going on with Rahm, with this unfortunate bounce he got at Memorial. Yeah, he sits on top this week.
Yeah, and the other thing was, after he tested positive, they had tested the same sample twice that day. You want him to be healthy. Like, that's the main thing. You said that both you and I have had COVID, and oh my gosh, I didn't feel healthy for weeks. So if a week later he's like, oh, I've had 2 negative tests and I feel great, I mean, I don't know if he ever had it in the first place.
I would say he didn't have it in the first place.
Gosh. Anyway, and he's won at Torrey Pines before. The Farmers Insurance was his debut win on the PGA Tour. So all of that. Jon Rahm is back in action, and we have him at number 1 this week. Coming in at number 2 is Dustin Johnson. There was a time last Sunday where I really thought that DJ was charging up that leaderboard and was going to take the title at the Palmetto Championship at Congaree, where you are. But then he seems to have, it's a little bit of a common theme right now, in that he will post a big number at the end of his round, and that's exactly what happened. He had that triple coming down the stretch on Sunday.
Yeah, Dustin Johnson, we had talked about him last week, about we felt like he was going to pull out of it, sort of a lull that he's been in. He's been sort of holidaying a little bit and relaxing, taking some time off. And I saw enough out of him this week here at Palmetto, Diane, to be able to comfortably sit him at number 2. Drives it great. I mean, who drives it better than Dustin Johnson when he's playing well? The putter is always a little bit of a question with him, but he hits it so good that I think he's up for it. He won on the hardest test, US Open at Oakmont, when he won his US Open. It will be a very similar setup as that. So he's not going to be sort of overawed with the setup when they get out to California this week and they see how much rough it is, and they know. One of the things about being a player is when you walk off the first tee at the US Open and you miss it, you drive in the rough, you're almost staring down the face of a bogey. And as these bogeys stack up, you realize you can't get back into the tournament. Mm-hmm. You can get out of a tournament so quick in the US Open. You can be 4 or 5 over after 9 holes, and you never make it back to being in it.
And the thing with DJ, I mean, you summed it up there, he's one of the best drivers on tour, 6th for distance. Another stat we've really looked at this week is birdie or better from the rough, because we know that's going to be important. And he ranks 7th on the tour. So if he can just not shoot that big number when he's closing his round, then it could be a second US Open title for Dustin Johnson. And I did see a great fact that in 50% of the US Opens he's played in, he's finished in the top 10. So these big courses, they suit him. Yeah,
Dustin Johnson has that low heartbeat look about him where nothing seems to bother him, and that's so suited for this event. Not too hyped up about anything. But let's face it, the reason that he plays good in the US Open is he's steady. He hits fairways. He knows what to do. He knows how to play a US Open. He curves the ball one way, plays predominantly a fade, aims it down the left side of the fairway and curves it into the fairway to keep it in play. Mm-hmm. This is a 27-yard fairways this week with 8 inches of rough. So it's going to test everybody this week. Okay, coming in at number 3, we saw him win at Memorial just a couple of weeks ago. Patrick Cantlay is our number 3 pick this week. Why are we ranking Cantlay so high? Well, he's in form. We talked about that. We picked him at Memorial as I think it was our Sizzler that we said, here's a guy that's been off form, and there was a chance for him to play well, and he did it, of course. But Cantlay hits it straight. Went to school at UCLA, putts good on Poana. I just think when you start to put together a model, I've got 2 thoughts in my mind. One of these guys like Bryson, who hits it miles out there, and Rory, and sort of all over the place. And then you've got these sort of structured players like Cantlay and a couple of others we're getting ready to talk about that actually play golf down the middle of the fairway. Cantlay could win this US Open just because of how straight he hits the ball off the tee. Mm-hmm. Cantlay's 25-1. Those odds are pretty good for him. Rahm's 10-1, DJ's 14-1. So Cantlay's a little bit higher. And yeah, as you say, the other good stat for Cantlay is scrambling from the rough on the PGA Tour. And I know that the rough is going to be very different this week, but he's 11th. So it is a strength of his game. And we'll see what he can pull out of the bag.
Coming in at number 4, I mean, you talk about people who would love to win certain tournaments. The US Open is up there for everyone, but Xander Schauffele, San Diego guy, winning the US Open for his first major at Torrey Pines, that has to be the dream scenario for him, and we have him up at number 4.
Yeah, we don't know if Schauffele, the pressure of playing at home in the US Open will change the way he plays the US Open, because he has an unreal record in US Open. He's been in the top 4 or 5 a number of times already, I think four or 5 years in a row. But he did finish second at Torrey, and he's had a pretty patchy record at Torrey. But Schauffele falls into this Rocco category where he can actually drive it straight. I actually think the winner of this tournament, and we've talked about it already in this show, is going to be around 70, 73 or 45% in driving accuracy. Because when the pressure gets the most, Diane, 27 yard fairways, Schauffele, he putts good on Poa annua. I'm giving him that. But I'm all about the tee ball this week. I'm with Rocco on this one.
Okay. I mean, as you say, his track record at Torrey has been a little bit sketchy, and well, with that second place finish, there's that momentum. But his US Open, in every single US Open he's played, he's finished in the top 10. So, I mean, again, the big courses suit him. So Schauffele definitely has earned his spot at number 4. Coming in at number 5, well, we've been teasing him a little bit, and of course we have to mention him. He's defending champion after winning at Winged Foot. That's actually quite difficult to say. But Bryson DeChambeau, you have to put him in the top 5 when it comes to a US Open now.
Yeah, Bryson will come into this event very confident. He's from California originally, so he knows this style of golf. The big question with Bryson, he does deserve to be the 5th number in our field this week, Diane. The question will be, what can he do from the rough? Yeah. And he hits it so far down there, and we know that his wedges is the length of a 6-iron, so he gets a lot of speed. The question will be, can he get this ball out of the rough? Because he's going to be in it. He's probably going to be 50% accuracy for the week. That's kind of the way he plays golf. What can he do from that rough? And I think it's going to be we're going to all find out very quickly. If you're going to put your money down on Bryson DeChambeau, you're going to find out very quickly if anyone can play from the rough. Tiger did it, but the word is that it's another 2 or 3 inches longer than it was in 08. And 1 under par made the playoff in 08 with Rocco. So is it going to be an over par US Open? Probably this week. If they get the dry conditions and a little wind blowing with this rough, it's probably going to be over par. So we're going to see.
We have seen Bryson of late scale back with the driver and maybe play something else. He might pick up the 3-wood a little bit more. What are the chances of him doing that? I mean, it seems like a little bit of a catch-22. He might have increased accuracy, but we know that distance is going to be so premium around Torrey for the US Open.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see Bryson's strategy. He spent all this time, though, getting bigger and stronger and faster so he can hit it miles down there and sort of change the dynamics of how he plays golf and how you think about scoring by being closer to the hole. It's just that at that much speed, 1 degree dispersion off the driver on a sort of a seaside course sends it 30 or 40 yards off direction. It's just it just doesn't fit for me, but it worked at Winged Foot. For one reason only, is that they had the slope fairways and nobody else could hit the fairway. So we'll see.
Okay, well, our top 5 so far: John Ram at number 1, DJ at 2, Patrick Cantlay at 3, coming in at 4 is Xander Schauffele, and then defending US Open champion Bryson DeChambeau at number 5. On the show next, we will give you the rest of our top 10. We're also going to dive into some sizzlers and those all-important high-value dark horse picks.
Get in the game on the SG Tour Golf Gaming app and play 4-ball. It's a classic stroke play competition based on the aggregate scores of 4 players. Who makes your team? Well, pick 4 guys, 1 from each tier based on the current World Golf Rankings. Want a tip? You need 4 guys to make the cut. Get in the game on the SG Tour Golf Gaming app, available on iOS in the App Store.
It's It's the US Open this week at Torrey Pines in beautiful San Diego. I'm Diane Knox and Steve Elkington is here live from Congaree Golf Club, the host course last week for the Palmetto Championship. But we are going through our re-ranked top 10. Our number one guy this week is Jon Rahm. I mean, I'm excited to see the fiery attitude that Rahm is going to attack this course with. Anyway, DJ at 2, Cantlay at 3, Schauffele 4, and Bryson at number 5. Elk at number 6. Well, we've really looked at straight hitters this week, and Collin Morikawa is the guy that's going to fill that spot. We saw him play incredibly well at Memorial. He just lost out to Patrick Cantlay, but he's already got one major under his belt, so he's going for his second one this week.
I love this guy this week. I'm listening to Rocco Mediate on this very show. We talked about how he was able to get into a playoff with a long hitter at Torrey, Tiger Woods. Tiger played a different style. He was further, 40 yards further down the fairway than Rocco. Rocco averaged 283. Tiger that week was 320. They both missed the same amount of greens, and believe it or not, Rocco got up and down more than Tiger did that week, and they all finished in a playoff, and that's history. Morikawa, I think, medium long range hitter, but super straight. This is my pick this week, Diane. He's number 6 on our report, but this is my pick this week because of one thing. Rocco said, I said, Rocco, what club do you need in the bag if it's dry conditions with high rough? And he said, driver.
Okay.
And I'm going with Morikawa to hit it in 80% of the fairways. I'm going to say 76% of the fairways this week and win the US Open.
Yeah, well, that's key, isn't it? He's 20-1. I should say that all the guys in our top 10 are round about that. Apart from the guy that comes in at number 10, he's 100-1. So that's definitely reason to keep watching. Collin Morikawa at number 6. At number 7, it's Jordan Spieth. Now, looking at his stats right now, the putting stat is by far his best. The accuracy is the question mark, but do you think he can overcome it and stay out of the rough at Torrey this week?
Well, I think he's going to visit the rough some. We all know how erratic Jordan can be with his driving, although he drove it really well when he finished second to Jason Kokrak at Colonial. Mm-hmm. But who's better if they put every person in the rough on every hole at Torrey, who would win that tournament? It would be Jordan Spieth, because he'd chop it out down the fairway, he'd pitch it on, and he'd make half of them, and he'd win the rough tournament. So I've got him sneakily put him in this position, Diane, because I think Jordan can hang around a little bit if he drives it halfway decent.
You say that, you talk about scrambling from the rough. There's 3 names that will always spring to mind. Jordan Spieth, Phil Mickelson, and the third one we might talk about a little bit later on, Mark Leishman, who's won at Torrey as well. So, the magic.
Yeah. It's true. Leishman won the tournament, of course, in January when he drove it terrible. And I've had to pass on that this week because I got to have players that are in the fairway. And, Jordan Spieth, yes, he is erratic off the tee, and he may hit 60% if he have a great week. But he's so good at getting a par, making a score.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw in quickly that Phil this week is 60-1 and Leishman is 70-1. Anyway, right, we're moving on, and at number 8, the second biggest hitter on the tour behind Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy. Again, a name that just will always earn his spot in the top 10 of a major.
Yeah, and he has a lot of experience in US Opens. Rory's won it, and the Congressional, very difficult test that week. Probably one of the most gifted players we have on the whole tour. All the Englishmen and all the people in Europe and your side of the pond, Diane, will be thinking this is a good chance because Rory's playing near the ocean and it's going to be windy and all that. But he's going to have to do the same as everyone else, Diane. The USGA has found their footing. Mm-hmm. What I mean is they found their traditional setup of the golf course, and it is penal. very penal and very narrow fairways. How does that work for Rory? Well, he's just so good that he's just better than most everyone else in the field. And we're just going to have to see how he putts and how his attitude is, because we all know Rory is a bit of a seesaw. He's either hot or he's just off, and let's see what happens. But he's definitely a good chance this week.
He's either hot or off. He won at Congressional 10 years ago. That was his US Open. That would be a nice milestone to win it again 10 years later. Right, at number 9, it's Mr. Major, Mr. US Open, Mr. PGA Championship. He almost got it done again this year, but Brooks Koepka is at 9. So what was interesting to me is last week, he played the Palmetto Championship at Congaree and he missed the cut. And afterwards, he said that he just can't find the same energy at regular PGA Tour events compared to majors. And he'll be the first to admit that he's a completely different player at these events. But, you know, missing the cut at Congaree, there's that question mark over him. There has to be. The way he played final round at the PGA Championship, you know, losing to Phil. What is that question mark over Brooks heading into the US Open?
Well, you know what? He says he can't get the same energy in regular events. I believe him. Yeah. Because he plays so good in the majors, and it's almost the opposite for every other player in the field. I don't know what Brooks has. He has that special ingredient that he's able to calm down when he gets to the majors. He realizes it. You know, there was a lot made that he said, I only have to beat 5 guys in the majors. And they thought that was a kind of a line, but it was Jack Nicklaus's line. Jack Nicklaus said that for 30 years ago, that the reason the majors were easy for him to think about because there was a very small amount of guys to win. So I don't know how you actually handicap Brooks legitimately, because he shows you no form and then he goes to a major and plays lights out. So we know that he's going to have the energy, and question mark is driving, putting. I think the one thing that let him down, as we all saw at the PGA, Diane, was his putter. But Phil Mickelson was kind of a runaway train. He kind of squashed, he put down all the flames on Brooks. Brooks wanted to be in there and fight hard, but Phil just outplayed him, and that just kind of cooled his heels. So I think Brooks is, it sits about right where he should be. He's a little bit of a question mark, but there'll be a lot of people piling on Brooks in majors.
Well, the lesson that I learned after the PGA is never leave Koepka out of your major lineup, because we weren't big on him for the PGA Championship, but our loyal watcher and follower, Cam Cole, he picked Koepka, and he ended up winning 1.3 million on DraftKings because of that. So that's a lesson learned. You know, go with your heart. And then completing our top 10 is, I did say that our number 10 guy is 100 to 1, and I am shocked at that. He just got his second PGA Tour victory, second of the season at Colonial, and Jason Kokrak, one of the big hitters, is our number 10 guy.
I'm sliding in my great friend Jason Kokrak, who I happened to be with the week at Colonial with him and Pat Perez, the Monday night of the week that he won. But the reason I like Kokrak, Diane, is he's on a sort of a run now to get into the Ryder Cup. And look, anyone that watched the Colonial playing Jordan Spieth down the stretch, Kokrak hits it 330 yards, dead straight every shot. His best club in his bag is his driver. Yeah. And if he can get his rhythm out there on this golf course and start hitting the big shot down the middle, then he's going to be as good a chance as anyone this week. And he's just got that. He's in form. That's what I'm picking here. He's in form.
And he's always been so good at hitting the driver, but after Colonial, I watched all his interviews afterwards, and they had said, like, what was the club that was key, and he said driver. And around Colonial there was a question mark over how often these guys were going to hit driver, and he was like, well, I'm going to hit it on way more holes than you think I'm going to hit it, because it's his money club. And it paid off, and it's going to pay off this week at Torrey.
And he's such a better putter than he was a year ago. I mean, I used to worry about his putting. He made 150-footer putts in the last round of the Cologne. testimonial, and I said to him, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Elk, I putt so good now compared to what I used to. I've gone cross-handed, I changed putters, I've done 10 different things to my stroke, but now I'm a really good putter." He knows it. Everyone else does too. And that's why that was an enormous win for him, and to hold down Jordan Spieth in Texas and not let him get run over by the whole crowd was behind Jordan. And I think it's going to pay off for Kokrak. That experience in Texas, where he had to go against someone they wanted to win so bad, is going to help him just relax now when he gets under all this big pressure at the US Open.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's got a great demeanour about him. So Kokrak completing our top 10. There you have it. Not too many surprises, but it's a major, so it goes without saying. Our re-ranked top 10: Jon Rahm, Dustin Johnson, Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, Bryson DeChambeau, Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Brooks Koepka, and Jason Kokrak. So Elk, as we've been saying, you're at Congaree this week, the host of last week's Palmetto Championship. You get to go play the course. So Jay Kaplan is going to step in. He's going to help with Sizzlers and dark horse picks for the US Open, and you're going to have a great time out there.
I certainly am. I might put up a few pictures. I might even go find that bush that Dustin Johnson had a triple on. Everyone was showing the video of it last night. We're in the bar and they were showing there's the spot that cost Dustin Johnson the tournament.
Wait till you see that they're not even bunkers, the sandy areas. Some of them standing on the tee, I mean, you're just going to appreciate it. It's crazy, amazing. You're going to have a great time. So thank you. Enjoy Congaree. Okay. And we're going to have your drawings back this week for Torrey Pines as well, with a little bit of strategy.
I'll do them tonight when I get back. I'll be putting in some dark green on the right and left side of every fairway, Diane, where that rough will be.
Play Money Grabber on the SG Tour. Instead of strokes, it's all about the cash. You pick a team of 4 players, 1 from each tier, and scoring is based on the money that your team wins. Your guys missed the cut? No problem, you're still in the game. The SG Tour Golf Gaming app, available on iOS in the App Store.
US Open week, and Jay Kaplan has been brought in to deliver the goods. There's a lot of pressure on your shoulders this week, Jay, because you have Sizzlers and dark horses.
Diane, you know me well enough to know that I don't feel pressure, especially in a major. I've been doing my homework all week since I escaped solitary confinement last week. And I got a haircut. I'm out of prison. I look better. I feel better. I met some really nice people in prison. We stayed in touch. I even had a pen pal. So I'm ready to go.
Can I just say, I just want to jump in quickly. You know, obviously, like, I try to theme my outfit around the tournament every week, just because that's who I am. So I picked blue because blue is part of the US Open colours. But more importantly, my heart and my mind is on the other side of the pond this week, because Scotland are in the Euros. And it's the first time we've been in a major championship since 1998. So I have my mug. Oh no, there we go.
You know what? I think we're all pulling for the underdog, and we know the Scottish folks embrace the underdog role throughout their history of their life. So I'm all blue and white this morning as well. I can't wait to cheer on the Scotsmen. What's their nickname? What do they go by?
We're the Tartan Army is the name of our fans. So you can just be part of the Tartan Army this week.
All right. I'm part of the Tartan Army.
We're playing England on Friday, which is going to be a big one. Oh, see, I can't say that. Anyway, we're back to golf on this side of the pond, and we're giving you our Sizzlers. Now, these are guys that made big jumps up in our re-ranking with higher odds than we have in our top 10. Jason Kokrak being the exception at 100 to 1, coming in at number 10. But we're going to start with Corey Connors. Now, not only have we been big on Corey Connors, but I feel like just the way that he's been playing consistently of late, the golf world is big on Corey Connors week after week. Jay, do you not think it's a matter of time before this guy he's already got 1 win under his belt, but a major, you know, his play is of that caliber right now?
Clearly, he's going to win one. He has the game, and I just have this feeling that if he wins just one in his career, it's going to be a U.S. Open. He has that style of play, and he's been on such a rise with his play since the year started, really. And of course, we need to get another Canadian a major. I think it's been since Mike Weir won the Masters that we have had a Canadian hoist a major championship. Why do we like Corey Conners? Well, other than his steady play, he's ranks 10th on driving accuracy on the PGA Tour. And as you and Elk discussed before, if you can't keep it in play this week, you have absolutely zero chance.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's going to keep it in play is a positive. He's also 8th in green and regulation. So he's in play. He's going to hit greens. Can he make putts? His putting average is 70th on tour, which isn't too bad. I have this sneaky feeling that we might see a Canadian in the final group come Sunday.
Well, we were saying that we're almost looking for the Rocco Mediate of the field this year, and that being, you know, kind of one of the medium range hitters that has high accuracy and great putting stats. And he's 121st for distance on the PGA Tour. So looking at that number in itself, he's not one of the long hitters out there. So Corey Conners could be the Rocco of 2021.
Yeah, you know, Rocco was one of those crafty swingers, right? He had a kind of awkward swing. He always had back issues. And at that point in his life when he was battling Tiger, I mean, talk about a folk hero. Maybe Corey Conners is that guy, but the Canadian version. He's definitely a little more of a player with length that can get out there. And he's one of the best shot makers on tour. So it's not a surprise if we throw his name out there. It's not like we're springing his name on anybody. I think everybody expects this guy to do big things on tour. This could be the start of it.
Okay, Corey Conners at 66-1. Well, our second Sizzler has already proven that he can win the US Open and win the US Open in California. Gary Woodland, who won at Pebble in 2019. Yes, 2019. He is our second Sizzler this week. Woodland is 80-1. We know that he took a dip in form and he was injured. He kind of kept it quiet at the time, but he was obviously really battling hard. He's coming out of that and we have seen some really encouraging signs. Do you think Woodland's going to make his grand return to the winner's circle at the US Open?
The short answer is no, but I do think he's going to play really well this week. And you're right, like we were so down on Gary Woodland that he was constantly in our fizzler list all through last year after COVID. And then at the beginning of this year, I mean, he really has not played very well, but he is showing signs. Clearly he's capable of conquering a US Open, USGA layout. He is back in California. The thing that we like about him is when we spit the chart out, he's 10th in driving distance. So he's going to be out there. His Achilles heel is the greens and regulation statistic. So while he might be in the fairway, there's something going on with his irons that are not putting him in a good spot. But he does make up for it from the rough. He's birdie or better from the rough. He ranks 26 on tour. Now, we all know this rough is a jungle. Elk, I think, mentioned 8 inches of rough. Is that even like legal? Can you even do something like that on a golf course? I don't think that's realistic for anybody to get out of it, but apparently this guy has shown the skill to do so. So if he's going to crown his turnaround, it could very well be this week where he's going to be familiar with that US Open nightmare layout. I
know, it really is going to be. Okay, so Gary Woodland is our second Sizzler. The third one, I'm going to flip-flop something here, and you're not allowed to be mad at me for it, but you wanted to put Charlie Hoffman as a dark horse, but I'm going to say that Charlie Hoffman is a Sizzler this week. Because he's 100-1, and when we did our re-ranking, he jumped all the way up to number 11. So we have to put him as a Sizzler.
Yeah, and first of all, you're not going to get any argument from me. I'm a total Charlie bro. All right. I mean, we've been riding his results for weeks now, and he's just the type of guy that knows how to navigate this stuff. He's been out there for so long, and if he's got that old California look. He doesn't quite have the surfer look anymore. He shaped it up, but he does have that California look. But I'm with you. Like, Charlie Hoffman's numbers across the board are staggeringly consistent. What do we mean? Driving distance, 26. Green in regulation, 33. Scrambling, 49. Putting average, 37. Birdie or better from the rough, 11. I mean, like, I can't believe this guy's not in our top 10, Diane.
Well, he fell just outside of it, so he came very, very close. But at 100 to 1, Elk and I were just saying, I know, and we were talking about Garrick Higgo, who won the Palmetto last week, and he's 66 to 1, and it's like, well, do you think he's going to make the cut? And we were all like, yes. Charlie Hoffman, there's got to be value even in him making the cut at 100 to 1. Like, well, 100 to 1 to win, obviously, so I don't know what the odds are to make the cut, but it's amazing. And the way that he's been playing lately, it's just so cool to see someone like Hoffman. And when I say someone like, I don't mean that as a broad statement, but someone that's played on tour for a long time. And we've seen this season where, you've got the likes of Stuart Sink, Steve Stricker, I'm trying to think of some other names of guys. I mean, even Bo Van Pelt played so great last week at Congaree. And it's just really cool to see that.
Well, you're leaving out Phil Mickelson. Like, anybody can win on the PGA Tour or a major if they make putts. I mean, anybody, because all these guys can stripe it. Yeah. And if you can make the 10-foot putt to save par in the U.S. Open, and Tiger kind of showed us the way. Of course, he followed Jack Nicklaus's strategy over the years, but let the other guys fall apart, make your 10-footers, and get off the golf course with a trophy. Phil showed us that you can do that at any age, and because of the technology in the game, I don't care how long these courses become, guys can win. I mean, you can be 50, 55 years old. I mean, hell, even Elk almost won a claret jug when he was like 74 years old. So.
Okay, well, our three Sizzlers this week for the US Open are Corey Connors, Gary Woodland, and Charlie Hoffman, all with pretty good odds, but we are going to give you some dark horses next. They have to be higher than 100 to 1, that is the rule, and we have some good ones on the way.
Saturday is considered moving day, and you can play along on the SG Tour. It's a one-day stroke play competition where you select a team of 4 players to shoot the lowest scores of the day. Will you make big moves? Download the SG Tour Golf Gaming app on iOS now.
It's the final part of our US Open special tour report here at Secret Golf. Jay Kaplan is joining us. We've done our Sizzlers and our re-ranked top 10, and now we're on to a couple of dark horse picks for you. Now, the rule with the dark horse picks is they have to be over 100 to 1. And we've got, I mean, Jay, we say this all the time with a major, the re-ranked top 10 is almost a given. You know, we can jump the names around a little bit, we can throw in a couple of surprises, but really the guys that are going to be in that bracket for a major are pretty set. So it means that when we have dark horse picks, we have really big names at high odds that offer a lot of value.
Yeah, it's hard to pick dark horses in a major because it's almost like cheating. Sometimes you throw a name out and it's so recognizable that you're like, wait a second, this guy's not a dark horse pick. In fact, you've shamed me out of dark horse picks before, Diane, but this week that will not happen.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with mine. He is 175 to 1. And I'm picking him because, well, two factors. First one is, actually, I'm going to go with three. He's never won a major. This guy is in his mid-40s, played on tour for a long time, never won a major. So obviously would love that. And being an American in the US Open would be the one. I'm sure he would take any of them though. Secondly, this guy is from Texas and enjoys playing in windy conditions. And we make a bit of a joke of that, but it's a real thing. And with Torrey being on the coast, that's always a bit of a factor to take into consideration. The third one is he plays well at this course. He is coming off a second place finish, tied for second this year at the Farmers Insurance Open. And I mean, he shot a 62 here in 2020. So my dark horse pick is Ryan Palmer.
Interesting pick. You know, we've always said he has that John Wayne feel to him with his accent, that Texas glare. And of course, John Wayne being a Southern California dude. I can see that a little bit. He hasn't had the best form of late, but we're very forgiving here with Ryan Palmer because he's one of our guys. And wouldn't it be great for a guy like him who's in his 40s and is really having a moment in his career where I think he's finally figured some things out. Maybe not recently, but just in general, he's played really well. So this is more of a sentimental kind of, boy, it'd be nice to see him pick. But I'll give it, I think we'd all be thrilled if you were right on this one.
And yeah, he did jump all the way up to number 12 in our re-ranking as well, which is impressive. Like, it's when you make such big jumps like that and you're 175 to 1. I just want to state as well, when he shot 62, I have a feeling it was on the north course at Torrey and not the south course. But you know, it's all the same place. It all falls under the same
whatever,
pine tree. So Ryan Palmer at 175 to 1. Again, we always say with dark horses, there's value in making the cut in a top 20, in a top 10, and I think I'll wager a little bit on Palmer this week. Right, who are you going for?
Well, I'm ready to empty my piggy bank this week on this guy. It's just like, sometimes you step back, Diane, and you look and you think, wait, this is too good to be true. This all fits together perfectly.
How many times have we said that?
Yeah, but everybody knows that this is my gig. Like, the dark horse thing is my thing, except for last week, but we're going to skip over that. My guy is a Californian through and through. He's a Berkeley, Cal Berkeley guy. He's from LA. And he won on a course that is one of the great golf courses in the United States that has hosted major events. And he's young, which means he's long. And he's long, which means he's going to be out there ready to play this week, ready to play Torrey Pines this week. 49th in driving distance. His Achilles is his accuracy. But as we always say, and it's important to remember this when you're picking a dark horse, can you overcome your true weakness? And in this case, I think this guy, I hope this guy can, with his driving accuracy at 57%. That's not great, but let's say he gets into that California vibe and rhythm where he's out in the fairway, he is accurate, we know he's going to be long, and he does scramble well, he's putts well, he is 8th on tour in putting average. And as I said, he's already tasted the sweet nectar of victory in California this year. Do you know who it is?
Max Homa.
You got it. I guess I told you that like 3 hours ago, but it's Max Homa. I mean, come on. This is a perfect scenario where a young guy, can really make his mark on tour. If he does win, and that's a long shot, I get it. What are his odds?
It's 125 to 1, so it's good.
It's not bad, but think about it. Let's say he wins this week. He can put a US Open at Torrey Pines and a Genesis Open at Riviera in a year. That's an incredible twosome. So I'm going to go with my guy, Max Homa.
He would be like the second king of the Poana Greens behind Tiger Woods. That's a bold claim, but I mean, as you say, Cali guy. And Homa is great. He's such a talented player. All right, then, so our two dark horse picks are Ryan Palmer and Max Homa. Jay, thank you very much for your massive contribution to the show this week. And hopefully it's an amazing US Open. It's always an amazing US Open because the setup brings the drama.